Hey, I'm Chris, and thanks for joining me on this episode where I get the interior painted and assembled for the R34. So to kickstart this off, just showing you what I've already done so far. To get started, I actually primed it all, including everything you see here, in the Mr. Surfacer 1500, mixed with Mr. Hobby levelling thinners. It was a 50-50 mix, and the Mr. Surfacer Black 1500 is just superb. I mean, you can see here just how smooth it really is. It's just amazing. It's amazing stuff. And there's some masking to attempt to get the innards painted red. I was pretty happy with how the door cards ended up, and I was pretty happy with how the seats ended up. But unfortunately, on the back seats, I didn't quite get the masking down enough and ended up with loads of paint bleed. Because it was only acrylic over the Mr. Surfacer, I used some Tamiya X20A acrylic thinners to tidy it up. I wiped a lot of it off, did what I could, and actually brushed on some Mr. Surfacer over the affected areas after I cleaned up. And even though it's brushed on, it still looks pretty good. Not perfect, but I was still pretty happy with that. And there I've started masking it up, ready to start applying some flocking powder to the parcel shelf. But yeah, as you can see, I was pretty happy with the masking on the door cards and the seats. It was just a shame that it went a bit pear-shaped on the back there. So as I mentioned, I'll be flocking on the parcel shelf and on the base of the interior tub. So just showing you here, you see that line below the back of the seats, where the legs go over. I've been flocking up to that part, and obviously where I've masked up over the top. This is what I'll be using, some Streetblisters flocking powder. I've got both the black and the light grey, and I've got a little makeshift flocking applicator. I could do with a T-strainer, to be honest, but I thought just for now, what I've done is I've got one of these tubes. Tub container things that the fresh blades come in, which, by the way, if you ever get a chance to get these blades, get some, they're amazing. So I've just cut the bottom off, and with some metal mesh that I had left over from an old Hasegawa kit, as you see, I just folded it around the end and then just masked it off and held it down. To adhere the flocking to the surface, I'm just using some Elmer's school glue. You can use PVA, craft glue, whatever, it all does the same. So what I've done here, I've actually sped it up to 8 times because you don't need to see the slow process of this, just being brushed on. But yeah, I just literally brushed on some PVA, and as you see there, just filling up the makeshift applicator, just tapping it out, and it works pretty well, to be honest, for what it is. I say I wouldn't mind a proper bigger applicator like a T-strain or something, but that'll come with time. So yeah, but just like I say, 8 times speed. So even though it was a bit crazy, it was it didn't take too long, to be fair. And as you see there, I do it over a folded piece of card or a folded piece of paper. That way, any excess that I tap off, you can put it straight back into the tub, no problem at all. There you see, after the first application on the parcel shelf, it looks all right. Obviously, this is only the second time of using actual flocking powder. I'm used to using embossing powder, and I think it does go down differently with the embossing powder because you just pour it on. With the flocking, you've got to, as you've seen, tap it on. So I'm still learning. I'm enjoying the process though. And as you see here, I'm just applying the light grey. And at first, I quite liked the look of it, but as you see here, it's now black because I forgot to record it. But when I tapped off the excess, I just thought, you know what, I could have done with laying down a light grey base before applying the light grey flocking. So I went with a black, and to be honest, I quite like the black anyway, especially as it being in a police car. I know it's not true to nature with the red inserts. Did they have that in the R34 patrol car? I have no idea. Again, as you see there in the excess, where you got a folded piece of card paper, you can tap it back in, wipe it back in, or do what I do and get it everywhere. But yeah, it's not bad. Again, the Streetblisters black flocking powder is what I've used. I actually did a second coat as well. After the first one, I just brushed some PVA over the top of that again and applied some more, so there's double coated. And you know what? I'm really happy. Yeah, as you can see, I think it looks great. This Streetblisters flocking powder, it looks fantastic. I don't know how well you can tell off the video or pictures, but honestly, in person, I think it looks fantastic to the naked eye. This is it the next day, so it's, the PVA is fully dried, it's fully set, it's out of the daylight. Like I said, I'm still learning. I could do with a bit more practice, but it's not a sprint, and I'm here for the long journey, and I'm enjoying it. As for the rest of the interior, this is the dash. As you see, I've actually cut a bit of plastic sheet from a bit of packaging from like a Hot Wheels blister pack, for example. Got some of the thin plastic, cut it down to size, and put it in front of the dials. As you can see, it just gives a nice bit of realism, like there's a screen in front of it. And I've also tried to take inspiration from Google Photos of dashboards and the police dashboard. And just pointing just there below the blue bar, that's like where the screen would be, the numbers on. I just dabbed some white and then wiped it off to give it like a faded look, like a see-through look, sort of like the button symbols. Yeah, I've got rid of the solid plastic cord for the remote radio control. I put a bit of fabric cord instead to try and detail it up a little bit. It's just something. But yeah, this is it, fully assembled, and I was super happy with how this has turned out. Super happy. Yeah, I think it looks great, and it'd be a shame to hide it. But anyway, on to the next. Thank you for watching. See you next time.